What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? And hello to the social medias, because I'll be posting this to YouTube and Facebook. And this is the kickoff for the content trade. We have been working very hard. And now we can get back to just steady output of content, share some more free trade ideas, try to help everyone maximize their returns in the market. It's going to be glorious. But today I want to talk about what happened in the after hours. We found the ceasefire. I'm not going to get political, but basically we lost the war and we gave Iran everything they wanted. You know, you could try to spin it, I guess. You could try to have some cope about it. Basically, that's what's happened. This has caused oil to absolutely capitulate. I mean, a massive sell off, and we have oil puts. So we're going to walk tomorrow with a massive payday. I actually doubled down on that thesis into today, and I even bought some SPY calls. And so considering that we're up 13 points, actually a little bit more than that, we're going to have a massive payday on those positions as well tomorrow. But I didn't just want to talk about this major sell-off in USO. I kind of wanted to talk about the few reasons that I set up this position. You know, because it's a contrarian play. We don't go for a lot of these. And typically when we go for them, we want to find some clear top signals. And we didn't really get that on higher time frames. We do on the daily have the classic overbought RSI, price finds a new high, RSI does it. So you do have some of those momentum indicators not telling you that new participants are coming in, right? Now, on the monthly, oil's more overbought than it's been in the past 40 years. It's never hit an overbought level like this. That should also kind of make you scared. It means that all the buyers, all the people that want to buy this probably have bought it. But even more than this, you know, ExxonMobil or Chevron or whatever oil company you want to look at the end of the March, these stocks were already setting major tops. Big money was already selling oil companies leading to this event, even as the price of oil continued to go up. And that should have been the first red flag for a lot of people, for all the people, you know, who were piling into this position, getting into it. That should have been your first red flag that something was up. Something's up, you know? And the Substack article that I wrote today, I was, you know, dumb money and people who are new to markets love to say things like, oh, no one knows what's going to happen. It's unpredictable. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. There's too much money on Wall Street and too much brain power controlling that money for someone not to know always what's going to happen. Someone always knows is the correct answer. There's too much money and too many people. Someone always knows. And that's not being me being conspiratorial, okay? But we didn't predict the war, but we were long energy at the beginning of the year. It was one of the only things we were long. Our AI was even long energy late 2025, well before I even took the leap. You know, I waited for confirmations. It was just following flows. So, didn't know the war was going to happen. Didn't know oil was going to go parabolic. Didn't have to know. You buy, you wait, you get the confirmations, then the story appears. How strong is the story? Is there more buyers stepping in as price continues to go up? Oh my gosh. You hit the buy button and then you might have to hit the buy button a dozen more times and run with the theme. That's trading, man. So yeah, we're gonna get huge wins there, and I mean that's gonna be a really nice win for the middle of the week because it's been a tougher market, you know. Coming into today, you know, I mean we just had these very sideways days, right? And now we are getting the relief. So we want to go back and now look at these fib levels that we've been watching, you know. So now we're looking for this B wave retracement before more lows. And we're looking for, you know, a typical ABC pattern. I still am holding the thesis that, as we've seen many times before, you know, I think that this is A wave, B wave, C wave that finds a bottom in May, June, as it does. in most midterm years, especially midterm years where there's a war and there's a change in the Fed chair and energy and minerals are super popular. We can go look at '06. And for most of you, this will be a huge repeat, another repeat that you're probably sick of hearing because we wrote about this in January. So everything that's so far happened this year, despite all the news and the chaos and people confused, has been pretty much in line with what we've been expected as far as like a 50,000 foot goes. Execution's been a bit difficult because intraday price action has been tough. But even then, I've been feeling like over the past 3 weeks, it's cleaned up really, really nicely. So, there's still a lot of great movers in this market, and it's flowing to us. So, it's beautiful. I think actually in the last 2 weeks, I've had over a 90% hit rate. So that's wonderful. Performance over on the website, new websites up for those watching on Facebook and YouTube. We are fixing the login. Login is working for some people, not working for others. So we're having to rebuild the whole thing from scratch. Technical bugs. There's always a few bumps in the road when you do a massive update and a new launch. I think everyone's pretty understanding of that. We run a small team here across, our 3 companies. And I guess most of you only know about 2 of them, but there is a third one that I can't talk about on social media. But yeah, it's I feel like, when looking forward now and looking for the rest of the week, I think what you got to slam is you've got to slam these AI names. There was already pretty good relative strength out of names like AVGO even before this event. And I did hit MU earlier this week. I've been having a really close eye on it. I do think that SNDK is probably going to need to require more of my attention because it's just, look at this after hours move. So this thing probably wants to make a run for a new high if it has not already achieved it. Yeah, it's getting close. So it's 779. So you're 20 points away. And your weekly looks a little bit dicey. So this might be making the final leg higher. Might like the final leg higher. Be careful of a double top, but you probably want to try that double top. On this one, let's look at the daily. See the daily's giving confirmations here. It's sketch. It's honestly sketch. Yeah, I think you want to try a double top here. And then see if you get follow through there. I would take a lot of the profits off when you get to that double top, though. Tesla is an interesting one. I think if the market rolls over tomorrow morning, Tesla is going to be my top watch to the downside. You just have this major technical break from Tesla. And this thing that ended up being earlier this week, we caught like 80% on the shorts. Just looking for that waterfall. We got the extreme waterfall. It even gave out more than I expected. I had a target of 330, but I actually thought that might be the low until I saw how it was collapsing today further. So I think I need to be looking for this probably to go back to the 280s by middle of the year. And that kind of makes sense because we have the Starlink IPO coming out. And I haven't really talked about this much in the Discord on the social medias. I've made hints at my opinion. But I think the SpaceX IPO is going to be an utter disaster. The structure of it and everything looks like a giant money grab. And it's IPOing at like 1.5 trillion. It'll probably, once it's actually listed, probably be closer to 2 trillion. It's just a hefty evaluation. I am really excited to see, because it's going to technically be the first AI company to be publicly listed, where we're going to have like a deep insight to what the revenue looks like for things like Grok, and also finally get an update on how X, the website, is doing. Because if I'm actually, I need to fact check myself. You got 2 companies that are both named X, XAI and X. I don't know if they're the same. Okay, yeah. So XAI bought the social media platform X, and then SpaceX merged with XAI. So when this IPOs on that first earnings, we're going to get insight to how X, the social media platform, is doing, and we're going to see how Grok is doing, which is going to give us more insight to the other AI companies. This is going to be a massive, massive IPO. So, I think it's going to sell off and damage Tesla. I mean, it's just going to IPO too high, man. There's so much money piled into this thing. And they're letting insiders sell on day one. That's not what you want to see. That's not a great sign. Why do they get to sell on day one? They need a lockup period, a long 6-month lockup period, as is actually I think 180 days is standard, which is about 6 months. So I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. So we'll see how it actually goes. But I think that's what's kind of causing some of the pain in Tesla. Never mind that there's been, weakness in China. I mean, Tesla's having their own issues. So maybe after the insiders make their bags, then we'll get the Tesla SpaceX merger. And, that disaster will be something that I'm probably going to be a buyer of. I just don't know what that price will be. I have to see an earnings report because I honestly can't even begin to guess what X is worth or what XI is worth. I have a decent idea of what I think SpaceX is fairly valued at. I know Tesla trades at a hefty premium. I do think there is an argument to be made for that premium, but I'm not going to fight the market. As you guys know, I sold my full Tesla position at a much higher price than this. Feeling really good about it right now. So it'll be a dip I buy, but I just want to warn everyone because I know across the socials I got a lot of Tesla fans, and I am the creator of a lot of those fans because of our great call out at 180. Which, by the way, in the after we set a low in this market, I think you're going to head up for another heyday. I don't know if these software names are going to bounce back. I've even tried to dip my toes in things like Oracle. But this thing is just dead, man. And that's even some of the comments I made in the Substack. I was kind of referencing some of these dead names. I've thrown this in my long term. It's actually, I think, flat right now. We're probably within a few bucks of when my entry was. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I do think these look appealing. I do think the data centers are going to do well, but they're kind of in the damage where, the companies like Microsoft are. I know Discord members have been telling me they're interested in buying Microsoft, and I'll just say this again, I'll review after I think the market has set a bottom. But I'll tell you what, it's a little, you have to be cautious against being arrogant and saying that, it's nonsensical that this is trading at such a cheap valuation or that it's more oversold than it's been in years. I'd take a pause. I kind of wonder if apps are going to be dead with AI, with all the improvements they've been making. I mean, especially since we started an AI company that is doing extremely well, and we've watched that AI improve itself. With our guidance, I mean, we get this thing a good head start. We kind of nudge it in the right direction when it needs it. But for the most part, this thing works with multiple agents to self-improve, and it is absolutely insane what it can do. We've also messed with Claude. I've got developers working with Claude as well on fully autonomous agents, and those things are super impressive. And that's why we're like, oh yeah, we'll for sure build our own app soon. Because at the end of the year, who knows, by the end of this year, it might cost us next to nothing to even do it. So we have it on the time frame, but we're kind of also just watching to see how this tech continues to develop, because it's small teams like we have that can move the fastest on this stuff. And it's the big companies like Adobe, that are slow and they want to keep their old tech. They don't, they don't want to destroy the business that already exists and move forward with the rest of the world, right? It's a blockbuster story right here. I mean, this thing, how many meetings with fund managers I've had over the past like 2 years about Adobe. Adobe's a great buy. That's what I heard here. Adobe's a great buy. That's what I heard here. What I heard here. What I heard here. Amount of arguments I've had. I am not touching this shit. I don't know if it ever bounces back. And then you got companies like Duolingo. I can literally fire up GPT and build Duolingo's entire platform with a few prompts. And you're telling me this company's still worth $4.5 billion? You think I don't think so. I don't think so, bud. Maybe AI becomes an assistant that just makes the platform better, but not if they continue to fight it. And then when they give into it, you still have to go through this huge period of restructuring. That's what Microsoft might have to do. Your money might sit. People forget time periods like after the .com bubble burst. That if you bought top 500 companies, you went sideways for a decade. Don't forget that. This period of restructuring. You might not feel it in your real day-to-day life, and the economy might hold up strong because new companies will emerge and they'll provide new jobs, and that will keep things vibrant and healthy. But your staple names might go through periods of pain longer than you think they will, as they have to completely restructure most of the services they offer. And there'll be periods of time throughout that where people don't know if they'll make it. We're going through one of those right now. So, man, just be cautious. Just be cautious. Be patient. I would much rather see, there's already been some flows into some software names, and especially on this headline, there will be some more. And this whole rant that I'm going on is just to caution you against a knee-jerk reaction. One, I don't think the lows are in. Two, I don't think the software story has become convincing yet. Despite the fact that early money's coming in. You could still make a ton of money if you're late, okay? And you just want that ample confirmation. You'll still make a lot of money, okay? There are no rewards for being the first one in. So keep that in mind. That's all I got. God bless. See you guys in the morning. We're going to go collect our profits first thing to open. So talk to you then.